up? Want to get back in the left seat after a while of being on the ground? AOPA is here to help brush the rust off. Your Debonair takes flight with her new engine, a stabilized approach to aerial video, and over-the-top gadgets for in-flight entertainment. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment. There are 500,000 lapsed pilots out there, and most of them intend to get back into the air sometime. They just need a little push, so says our survey. Hello everyone, I'm Tom Haynes. Thanks for watching AOPA Live this week. Well, many of us have been there at some point or another, not flying much or maybe not at all for a period of time, but getting back into aviation has never been easier. This week, AOPA is launching a new initiative that we call Rusty Pilot. It's a new national program offering a total package, the place, the people, and the plan for pilots to get back into flying.
So we've developed Rusty Pilots as a program to help you complete your flight review, get back out to the airport, and get back in that left seat.
Well, actually, I was surprised that there wasn't more involved, that really what you were able to do is get with an instructor and take, in essence, a small refresher course until he was satisfied after an hour or two that you still knew what you were doing and in handling an airplane, and then going over some of the written materials, the charts, the sectionals, some of the terminology and things that have changed over the years, and he was comfortable that you understood how to do those things.
AOPA will be partnering with flight schools and flying clubs. We'll give them everything they need to hold a Rusty Pilot seminar. We'll even help them communicate with lapsed pilots in their area. And it's all free. For pilots, we have a Rusty Pilot seminar locator. Whether you're a pilot, flight school, or flying club, you can find out more at rustypilot.org.
1 hour for every year you've been away is really all you need, and sometimes it can even be less than that.
Meanwhile, the Santa Monica City Council wants much less of an airport, but AOPA told them they should let the voters decide that. Tuesday night, the City Council voted to approve a staff plan that would shorten the runway, raise fees, and do other things to make the airport unusable for a lot of aircraft, all with the ultimate goal of closing the airport. AOPA's Vice President of Airports, Bill Dunn, spoke up at the PACT meeting. He reminded them of the airport's economic value to the community, and he said that AOPA will not give up in the fight to keep SMO open. Cirrus Aircraft has this week flew the Vision Jet C0 for the first time. This is the first conforming flight test aircraft that Cirrus will use to satisfy the FAA that the single-engine SF-50 Vision Jet meets all the agency's requirements for production. The hour-long first flight included controllability, maneuverability, and flight envelope checks. Test pilot Mike Stevens reports the 7-passenger jet performed well and all systems functioned normally. A new business jet will be joining the Cessna lineup, the CJ3 Plus. The new addition to the CJ line includes the Garmin 3000 with improved turbulence detecting radar. For the folks in back, a media server and high-speed internet. Cessna predicts the CJ3 Plus will be certificated in the second half of this year. And your AOPA Sweepstakes Debonair is fresh out of the engine shop. AOPA Live cameras were rolling as AOPA Pilot Editor-at-Large Tom Horn got a first look at the finished rebuild and conversion.
Wow. Look at that battery box.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, look, and this matches. Matching collar. The day we've waited for has finally come. The Sweepstakes Debonair's new engine has been installed, just in time to go on display at the Sun and Fun Fly-In. Genesis Engines by DeShannon did the engine overhaul, and Aero Engines of Winchester did the installation. And it sure looks good under the cowl. Now the old 225 horsepower engine is a thing of the past, and the new IO 470N engine puts out 260 horsepower. We picked up the rejuvenated engine at Aero Engines of Winchester and did its first flight over the Winchester, Virginia airport after the overhaul and conversion. After the flight, mechanics checked for any oil leaks or other anomalies, but all was well. Now it's off to the show, where you can see it firsthand. I think you'll agree it's a beauty. Tom Horn, AOPA Live.
That looks great. Anxious to fly it now. Be sure to visit us next week at Sun and Fun. We'll have 2 tents this year, and the Debonair will be front and center. Find us at a new location near the FAA building. Now, Tom might think that the Debonair might be the best aircraft flying, but, well, you might have a different idea. Our version of March Madness continues, where you can vote for your favorite aircraft, fill out your bracket, vote in each round, and we'll see what aircraft rises to the top as the favorite of AOPA members. You can join the Aircraft Challenge at aopa.org/aircraft/challenge. When we come back, a homegrown business that's changing the world of aerial video. And have a few $100,000 to trick out your airplane? Yeah, we've got a shopping list for you. You're watching AOPA Live This Week. Welcome back to AOPA Live This Week. Imagine combining 2 passions and building a business out of the result. Well, that's what pilot and photographer Arnie Itzkowitz did. His inventions are bringing stabilized aerial footage to television screens around the world. The breathtaking video speaks for itself. Clear, crisp, and most importantly, stable shots coming from, get this, a GA airplane. It's all made possible by this rig.
This is called the LSG-X model. The gyros will keep the camera still while the system rotates around, which is really the aircraft moving. The aircraft will tilt and roll and do whatever. And as the aircraft tilts and rolls, the gyros will just stay pretty much on target. And you can see that when you're watching video.
He's got several models, and they will hold just about any camera a job calls for.
This is a 2K camera. The new cameras are 4K. I shoot with Red cameras on this. I shoot with Sony F65 cameras on this. Whatever the customer needs to use is what we use.
The rigs are built to provide a gyro-stabilized platform at a reasonable cost. His systems start at $11,500 and provide many of the capabilities of a $500,000 turret-mounted camera. The systems are portable, and they don't require an STC for installation. Arnie shoots out of the back of his A36 Bonanza, but they can be used in helicopters and even ground vehicles.
And the mounts have become pretty popular. We have probably close to 175 mounts out there in the world, all over the world today.
And with video like this, it's easy to see why. You can learn more about Arnie and his company, Aerial Exposures, at aerialexposures.com and in the pilot briefing section of the April issue of AOPA Pilot magazine. The Wisconsin Assembly last week passed a tax break that could save aircraft owners millions of dollars on maintenance and repair. AOPA lobbied for the bill, which eliminates state sales tax on parts and labor used in aircraft maintenance. AOPA has successfully pushed for similar legislation in other states. Sometimes it's just best to declare victory and move on. That's what EAA has done with its battle with the FAA over charging for extra controllers to work AirVenture. EAA has made an agreement to cover FAA's costs for travel, lodging, and overtime for the additional controllers. Essentially, that's what they were forced to pay last year, and EAA went to court over it. But EAA felt they had to make the agreement for stability and to ensure adequate air traffic control services through 2020. This April 10th, a very special movie premieres in Kerrville, Texas. Boots on the Ground is a true labor of love by the Mooney ambassadors. The documentary introduces the men and women who have devoted their lives to building the remarkable aircraft first designed by Al Mooney.
I'd say Al Mooney's use of the laminar airfoil and the empennage design, nobody else had done it on a civilian airplane. The P-51 had that, but that was a military aircraft. Everybody thought it would be too hard for the average person to control.
And Bill Wheat should know those sorts of things. He's been a Mooney forever. For more information on the premiere of the documentary, visit MooneyAmbassadors.com. And just a little more than 2 weeks later and a bit to the east, it's the first AOPA regional fly-in in San Marcos, Texas. It all kicks off with a pancake breakfast starting at 8:30. Seminars and safety briefings are scheduled throughout the day. There's a free lunch for AOPA members and a pilot town hall with AOPA President Mark Baker in the afternoon. Let us know you're coming, and because so many folks have already reserved, we could use some help. Just visit the website, aopa.org/fly-in, if you'd like to volunteer. There's a new way to connect with the AOPA Foundation. It's as close as Facebook. The nonprofit launched the page earlier this month. Foundation Donor Relations Specialist Justin Biasu says it's a great way to connect.
The AOPA Foundation Facebook's goal was to tell the story to a donor. Where is their money going? What are we doing to help preserve and safeguard their freedom to fly? So we're just excited to be able to present scholarship recipients, different donor events are going to be happening in an exciting, fun way for you to interact with us and tell us what you think the AOPA Foundation could be doing more.
Sure to like the page. Look for it at facebook.com/AOPA Foundation. Last week we showed you some of the new products on display at the Aircraft Electronics Association convention, but AOPA Live's Paul Harrop just wasn't satisfied with the practical. He came up with a list of suggestions for things to make my old A36 Bonanza, well, more capable for the rear passengers.
Tom, your Bonanza's already pretty great. It's got that new Garmin glass panel, that supple AirMod leather interior, and plenty of room for rear seat passengers. But what about the accoutrement?
Like being able to use my own cell phone. AirCell has a device that will do just that.
Somebody calls you, they don't know where you are, it's just going to ring on the plane just like it does on the ground.
You can also send and receive text. Want to watch a movie? Well, you can stream movies and news in flight.
We've even gone one step further and actually deployed a Wi-Fi gate-based network, so when the aircraft lands, it taxis to the gate, downloads the latest movie, and you fly away ready to watch the next movie.
You can even watch bad movies on this system, right?
Absolutely. If you want to watch a bad movie or a jackass movie, you could do that too.
Like their parent company GoGo does for the transport market, AirCell offers high-speed internet connectivity.
The smallest aircraft we've installed on is actually a Cessna 421, so a very small aircraft can still have broadband and have a great experience in the air.
And will I still be able to share funny pictures of cats?
Absolutely. But life wouldn't be the same without funny pictures of cats.
All right, we'll take it.
We need to be able to see those cat pictures in all their gato glory, and Flight Display Systems, well, has this taken care of.
So we go anywhere from a 5-inch up to 55, and everybody wants HD.
Hear that, Tom? 55 inches. Well, I guess 2 of those club seats may have to go. But hey, what is sight without sound? And I mean really good sound, like audiophile quality.
And these are finely tuned systems.
You better believe it. In fact, all of our amps have a DSP processor in them, and so we're able to actually fine-tune it for every aircraft interior.
And that's a pretty intricate process.
That's correct. We have a microphone that we actually put at every single seat. We walk through the cabin, we actually mic every single seat. Then we take that EQ map and create a conglomerate map for the entire cabin. And so at the end of the day, we have a EQ that's set the interior based on carpets, leathers, seat arrangements. So it's a tuned system per that interior configuration.
You guys can probably even make Justin Bieber's music sound good then.
We would. We could, in fact. Yes, we could.
Oh, baby. I don't know. So we've got our sight and our sound and our internet and our movies and our phone calls and our texts. I just don't know what else we need, and we found it all right here on the AEA show floor.
The bill comes to just a little bit under what it would cost to get a second A36 of the same vintage. But you wouldn't want to do that. Some people might say that could be a bit extravagant. Back to you.
Well, hey, thanks, Paul. It seems like we're missing the curb feelers, though. And while the companies featured in the story aim their systems at cabin-class aircraft, many have offerings on the scale that would work for those of us flying, well, lighter airplanes. And that's going to do it for us this week. Next week, we'll be broadcasting from Sun and Fun. If you make it to the event, we hope you'll stop by for a bit. If not, look for coverage right here on AOPA Live this week. See you then.